gone hairdressers. I've gone to swimming pool today. I've gone swimming, and as you can imagine, when you've gone swimming, your hair gets a bit dry. So I'm just going to comb my hair. But I have something interesting to talk about today. I'm going to be attending my very first Melanin conference. I think it sounds really cool. I'm going to be attending my very first Melanin conference. So without further ado, I'm going to be attending, and I'll be talking about it and stuff. I've just got castor oil on my hair, and yeah, I'm going to be sharing my screen and letting you guys know what the importance of melanin, and I just think it's so cool. So the conference is here. Join us for enlightening discussion with leading experts as they reveal the hidden science behind melanin and its impact on your well-being, wealth, and sustainability. So it sounds interesting. Ooh. Right. And these are the people. 27 events hosted. Let's go to their past event. So they have like a study group on Facebook. Hi, hello. So yeah, I'm going to my very first Melanin conference on this coming, and I just wanted to research on these people. Tickets are available. You can find it on Eventbrite. It's called the Melanin Conference 2025, keynote by Leon Marshall. I don't know who he is. These are the brothers. Leon Marshall, scientist and author. Okay, reject all. Let me reject. And Emmanuel Amaya, Darren B. Poe. But who are these people? So these are like proper. So this is the one. Okay. African Holistic Health Study Group presents Melanin Conference. What is melanin and why is it vital for your health, vitality, and longevity? How can you nourish and protect it for a thriving life? Join us for an enlightening discussion with leading experts as they reveal hidden science behind melanin and its impact on your well-being, wealth, and sustainability. So this is the event. I'll go away. I'm not logging on. I'm not going to log on to my Facebook. Leave me alone. Hide. All I want to do is see their page in peace. Okay. That's their Facebook group. Wow. Cultural extravaganza. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, so that's them. Oh, cool. That sounds interesting. Yeah, you should check it out. It's on Eventbrite, and the people that run it are called the African Holistic Health Study Group. Finally, something normal and not like black chat and degenerate and disgusting. But they're quite well known, and they're based in the UK. But yeah, it's okay. So they're quite big on social media. They've had quite a lot of events on Eventbrite. Contact. No, I'm not signing. Oh, they have Twitter. Past events. So these are all the past events they've been having. Oh yeah, these people are on social media. I know this man. So he had one in Birmingham. This one was last, like February. Cultural extravaganza. View details. View event. Oh, they've been quite busy. They charge it. I paid for this, I paid for this. So should be interesting. What else have they been doing? Black and Beautiful in the Ancient World with Dr. Runoko. Oh, isn't that the guy that passed away? Lewisham Village. Oh my god, the end of the earth. Who's going to Lewisham? At least this one's in North London, thank God. 1 day intensive. Dr. Africa UK tour. So all the African American, like Afrocentric people, they come here. Dr. Runoko Rashidi, he came in 2018, the late Melanin the Dark Matter Conference. So this is really interesting. Negotiated lecture. So you get a lot of lectures, they record it. Why can't Bobby Hemmett come? So this is coming up on Saturday. Worth going. Definitely going to try and check it out. Yes, you should. If you see me, come and say hello to me. Okay? I think it's an amazing event. I've got a few of my friends who are part of my network that will be going on, but you can see that they take their events seriously and they're out there trying to spread the word of black and betterment and black empowerment, a weekend extravaganza of culture, finance, history, and the black image in antiquity, beautiful, royal, and divine. So things like this is like positive. And then this guy, Mutabaruka, Word Power, International Black Literature Festival, a book fair. That was 2022. I missed Dr. Runuki's lectures. He was amazing. I believe he was killed. There's no way he would just die in the pyramid. I think they did something to him, to be honest. Those Egyptians, I don't trust them. Yes. Lecture, The Sacred Laws of Mark, Culture and Religion. This is what we need. So let's just find out who these people are. So they've got one coming up, upcoming event. So this is the one I'm going to, which is the Melanin Conference. And I'm just going to look up who these people are. Darren Beepo, who is he? Emmanuel Amelia. What's his name? Darren. Darren Beepo. Oh, he's a healer. Darren Beepo is a natural health consultant, raw food specialist, natural healer, health mentor. Ooh. So basically, like your mum, because my mum's one of those. He's obviously been hanging around with his mother, and grandmother for him to learn all that knowledge. So, yeah, just finding out who the speakers are. He's a natural health consultant. He's developed Health Restore, a program of natural healing and rejuvenating courses to educate others to understand the importance of deep cleansing, natural health principles to defeat health challenges. Darren is now holding workshops at Brixton every Friday evening. Wow. Who's going to go down to Brixton? Gosh. Okay. Oh, healers. Pablo Manfasawi Imani. That's Amharic, Manfasawi Imani. And he's the author of African Yoga, a practical guide to well-being through smile posture, breathe, and meditation. Pablo is a holistic health and wellness consultant, iconographic artist, and international African yoga instructor. And he's the founder of African Yoga, established in the UK and Ghana, and the Tamar Smile School of African Yoga. This is interesting. About BD. So these people are called BD. They have a website, and that's who one of the speaker is. Oh. Vibrator. Our health and diet lifestyle needs to be changed if we are to move away from our current manifestation and seek a better way of life. We must understand that genuine pride in our natural state will not come from clothes, fake hair, nails, or cars. Boom. He is speaking facts. Okay, the website is brilliant. Many within our community do not see that the black body is like no other and hence needs to be looked after accordingly. Our requirement is to stay healthy, is not like that of the majority of the population. This site is not aimed solely at women. However, there are mechanisms for changing health of the black community because it is she who is the life giver, nurturer, mother who breathes life into the next generation. Thank you. And that's why I can't stand box braids. Can't stand them. I'm not carrying no braids on my head. I've never liked braids when I was a kid, when I used to have it on my own hair. I can't understand why all these girls are walking around with braids and those braids cause cancer. And I'm so glad I'm not gonna carry no extra plastic thing on my head because I can't handle it. I just think braids look childish. I just wish it would go out of fashion. Just comb your own hair, for God's sake. Like, I don't know how they do it, sit there for hours and have braids on their head. It's heavy. It's like, and it's synthetic. It's not natural. So I'm glad I've got a very sensitive head. I cannot carry box braids. I just can't do it. I don't even like my own hair braided. That's how much I get a headache, let alone plastic. So this is really interesting. On this site, you will find useful information on our health through research obtained by those of the Black community in varied fields. The word bidii is Swahili meaning effort, struggle, and devotion. Over the many years, interviews have been conducted with prominent Black health practitioners. Our well-being. Bidii. Okay, this needs to be bookmarked. Bidii, you need to be bookmarked. Thank you. Our well-being. You look at us living our day-to-day lives. Do you see our bodies becoming more limp and lifeless every day? The way we talk and even think is a reflection of our mental, physical, and spiritual health. We must remember that the state we are in as individuals is a result of what we consume. Our health and well-being is the greatest possession we have and speaks volume about the community's harmony and structure. Many within our community suffer illness due to poor diet, no physical exercise, and lack of awareness of our own bodies. This is very, very positive. Our food, our diet is connected to so much more than just what we enjoy. Mother Vegan Chef Restaurant, Atrika from All Nations in Hackney, London, speaks about food relations to health of our community, striving to bring honest, substantial vegan cooking to the palate. Atrika speaks of self-care through food. Melanin, because that's what the conference is about. Our melanin. We begin with melanin. Melanin is the chemical from which so much is determined, experienced, and stored. Melanin is a chemical that we often overlook, underappreciate, and have little to no understanding. This stable and resilient compound gives many benefits to the body of melanated people. Melanin is a gift which we need to understand if we are to appreciate the way we are. Melanin helps us to absorb all types of energies, for example, the light from the sun. I knew it. I knew I would get energy from the sun. That's why I like sitting out in the sun. Or the vibration from sound which travel in the atmosphere. That's why we like music. That's so interesting. All we consume, be it food, drugs, even music, we have an intense impact due to our ability of strength to absorb to our melanin. Wow. Read article Melanin in the Body from Bidi Archives. Yeah. Yeah, so all these products that are targeted towards black women have chemicals and it affects our hormones, well-being in pregnancy. The health of women during and after pregnancy is vital, not only for her to recover, but the right start of a newborn. Read the latest interview with Leah Salmon as we explore what has changed for black women, how to improve the mother's well-being that will benefit her and her family. Oh yeah, this is the steam. They do this in my country as well. Like you sit down, your steam goes up. To care for oneself is very important. You only steam. My mum did. My mum gave me some herbs once, and I used it. It was really good. Like some, I don't know what plants they were, but they do that. They've been doing that for thousands of years, and that's really good for women. Oh God, a bit too personal. I'm not really interested in that. The stretch and be strong. What's that? Um, Yoga, diet. That's a very important training. Well, this is a really interesting website. And then prostate, breast cancer, fibroids, yoga. Yeah, reduce sugar. What else? Seems really interesting. Um, so that's where one of the guy is from. B Uziri. Okay. A nice website. Hmm. Things like workout videos. Really cool. I like this website. What else we got? It's impressive. Egyptian yoga. Afrobeats. What's that? Interesting. Right, so the other guy, his name is Emmanuel Ami Yor. Emmanuel Ami. Let me spell it right. Ami Yor. I know he's part of Hackney or something. Who's this dude? You know the other guy who's like some sort of trainer. Oh, he had a bookshop. Centerprise bookshop seized by Hackney Council. Oh no! CEO Emmanuel. Oh my god, he had a book. He had a black bookshop and a cafe, and they just tore it down. Isn't that him? He had a little bit of hair. Yeah, that's him. Poor guy. Hackney Council was so ghetto. I heard about them. They're really nasty. But yeah, this poor guy had a black owned bookshop. Yeah, I see his parents had great taste in names also. Yeah, no. So I'm just researching on the people that are delivering the project on Saturday. So this guy, he's like, everything we build, they always tear down. Honestly, it breaks my heart. You know, everybody has got black people and say, oh, look at them, they've been here so many years, what have they done? Whatever they do, it keeps being torn down. This man has like 40 years of experience, and this is what they do to break down his bookshop. We need bookshop. Our people are they're sliding backwards, they're becoming more degenerate. They try and but they like to impose ghetto-ness and stupidness and the stupid what is it? Um rubbish that they impose on our community and say that we are when we're better than that. When we try and do something great, they like to shut it down. So in 2012, Centerprise Bookshop and Community Centre in Dalston had been seized by Hackney Council as the two parties' dispute over a rent hike remains unsolved. Staff at Centerprise awoke on Thursday, 1st of November, to find their home of 40 years locked and back in the hands of Hackney Council, despite an appeal being lodged against a court decision to close them down. Disgusting. Disgusting. A bookshop. They know that will save so many lives in Hackney, so many young people that have been going there. They feel welcome and they can see themselves represented in books and they decide to shut it down. Shame on them. They came like thieves in the dead of night to seize the property when no one was around, said Emmanuel Amova, CEO of Centerprise. We have many valuables in the property and no inventory has been taken. We hope everyone is safe as we're talking of over 4 decades of Hackney's Black British culture history. The trustees are currently taking legal action on the matter. He said the Centerprise Bookshop Cafe Meeting Centre in Kingsland Road, Dalston, lost its court battle in October to stop Hackney Council upping its rent. It was ordered by London Central County Court to hand over the keys to the property within 7 days and pay £50,000 rent the council says outstanding from last June, plus the council's legal costs. Disgusting. Centerprise appealed to the Court of Appeal for what they called a stay of execution, which they say the court accepted. The organisation was waiting to hear from the court to plan its next steps when the council took possession of the building. Absolutely disgusting. This is how the council are in bed with developers. Like the way they've been moving us out of central London and using these nasty tactics to shut down black communities, like especially ones that have been in the community for over decades and decades. Like, this is the hatred you see in the way they treat black businesses and things that are not stereotypical. So yeah, he has also asked that people write to Hackney's Mayor Jules Pipe to condemn the council's behaviour. She's probably in it as well. Probably got paid. Several organisations and businesses who use the centre are planning a mass action against the council. Speaking to the Hackney citizen, Mr. Amevo said, "We would like to take this opportunity to renew our commitment to the Dalston community and hope that a way could be found to end this lugubrious affair. The trustees will never give up on their efforts to have this monstrous inequity redressed." Diane Abbott, MP for Hackney North of Stoke Newington, said, "I'm disappointed that Hackney Council has forced the closure of this important local institution. Centre Price is a vital resource for people of all races to learn more about Black culture and Black literature. Centre Price also performs an important function as community meeting place," said Miss Abbott. She added, "The big worry is that places like Centre Price, which is a fixture on Kingsland High Street, are irreplaceable in terms of its value to the community." In a statement to the Hackney Citizen, Hackney Council said Hackney had taken back the building. This was after Centre Price failed to comply with a court order requiring them to give up possession of the building by 23rd of October 2012. The council has no intention of selling the building and is committed to ensure that it's used by a voluntary or community group to provide services for the people of Hackney. But obviously, they don't want the black community having anything, because that's what really pisses them off. Like, the way that they hate the black community having a safe space. They don't want to give us that. They like to close down our institution. Anywhere where black people have a place of breathe is attacked and destroyed. So that's what they do to us. Like, they don't want to empower us with books, which is so sad. Imagine it. They've had many decades of information and stuff. So sad. Tragic what happened. So this is the guy that will be speaking. I'm not surprised. I hope he's okay. Enterprise. I like the name. Let's see LinkedIn. I haven't really posted anything, has he? Any update on Enterprise? Oh, Okay, so that's who he is. Let's see the other person. The other person is Leon Marshall, scientist and author of what? Something. So he's the author, The Hidden Science of Melanin by Leon Marshall. I think my friend had this book. We had a look at it in one of my meetings. She brought it over. And because we were doing a circle meeting for the ladies, she bought the book and I think she's read it. So he's the author of that book and he's really talented, by the way. He wrote The Hidden Science of Melanin. Yeah, I remember the book. 20 quid. Much has been written about melanin over the years, yet to this day many are still confused about what it really is and what it does. Is it really just a pigment that protects the skin from the harmful rays of the sun? Or is there more to it than that? What role does pigment play in fertility and childbirth? How is it produced inside the body? Which foods would it be best to strengthen it? All this plus more is revealed inside the most simplified science book ever written on melanin. So basically, that's for the thick people who can't understand science. It's been written very simplified. Yeah. I think that's great because our brain cells are not as fast as it used to be. Which foods would be best to strengthen it? And all this plus more is revealed inside the most simple science book ever written on melanin. Join the scientist Leon Marshall as he takes you on a profound journey into darkness. The book is designed to uncover what is being hidden in plain sight, the mind-blowing link between melanin and marijuana, and unearth the truth about water and melanin. What about water and melanin? I just don't get it. Okay, this is your opportunity to learn about melanin from a radically new perspective and start enjoying a new knowledge of self with over 120 published scientific references, 50 color illustrations. Wow, this is so cool. Yeah, I know my friend was randomly like sunbathing in the sun. She read this book and she was saying how, I'm just working on my melanin. I'm not like, because went to a picnic. We went to a picnic for my birthday 2 years ago, and she was just looking at the sun and posing like this. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I'm just getting the sun's rays." I said, "Ooh, okay." And then I remembered, yeah, she bought the book. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to show you the video that I want to share. So that's who the people are. Okay, true. I'm going to share a quick video on melanin. That's why I came here, just to share it. Okay. So history. I'm going to go and play it. Yeah, the science of melanin.
Establish in my own mind.
The science of melanin, human origins.
And the Dogon people say we came from stars. And the Dogon people say we came from star Sirius B. It may be correct that people had to, as Chakotay says, the people around Lake Victoria and then the eastern part of Africa, where people are thought to have been found by the skulls and the archaeological remains that they found, had to have been melanated. So it means then if the first people were deposited on the earth in that area, they had to have been melanated for probably a lot of reasons. And because they were the only ones and they had that pigmentation in that area, and other people were elsewhere where there's no pigmentation. I buy the theory that everybody comes from one species of persons called, it's kind of hard to the fact that there's some people that have many other differences in form and pigment, etc., hair and all like that, to show that that was an evolutionary mutational change. It's very difficult for me to establish in my own mind. I think that there may have been two creations. I'm not too sure. One original one, and one using some of the things from the original people to produce another people or to make another people.
Yeah, so those happened. They were doing some sort of experiments. Maybe during the Atlantean period.
And
I think.
We differ based on some mixing in and so on and so forth. But you have a whole group of people, a whole population of people that have features that are similar. And similarities you cannot see to connect back. You had to. It would suggest that there was some other kind of creation or some other kind of process that carried out sometime in history.
Yeah.
All that evidence we don't have. It may be someplace hidden. I don't know. But people say that we all came from Africans, but that's a theory, and I don't really buy that.
Well, I want to talk about the different kinds of melanin.
Okay.
And how one, it may be repeating itself, but I wanted to get a deeper understanding.
Okay.
How one melanin is the difference between it. I'm a little thick. So.
Okay. No, you're fine. You're asking good questions. EU melanin.
Yeah.
EU melanin.
Oh,
EU prefix. That's the scientist called.
I need to make notes. It's okay.
One type, EU melanin, which is eumelanin, and that melanin is defined as brown to black pigment. Then there's the second kind called pheomelanin, which is dusky melanin. It is not brown to black. It may tend to be red or some other variation of that. And the scientific, the National Academy of Sciences had a whole issue on different kinds of melanin and the types and the classes of them, with the people put in each group that they fit under that melanin, like the red people, and so on. They have different kinds of melanin. But the real true melanin, according to that prefix, is eumelanin, which is brown to black, which is the melanin that African peoples have.
Now, what can it do that perhaps the other melanin?
Okay. All right, so it can capture light. It can filter out certain kinds of the light that is not conducive for the human organism to function. And then it organizes all of the systems because it's found in areas where function is very strong. So it can organize systems and organize functions in the human organism because of the chemistry of that. It's very strong. It has sulfur in it. It has hydrogens in it. And we are the people of the sun. The sun generates hydrogens down and helium down, which means that melanin is part and parcel hydrogens and heliums, or hydrogens maybe, and other things, sulfur and so on. So our melanin is what they call true because it protects us. We don't get melanomas from it. And we can stand the sun a great deal of time without any problems for the most part. Whereas the pheomelanin is a form of eumelanin, meaning if we put them in one category, we have to say a form of eumelanin, although it doesn't necessarily mean that pheomelanin came from eumelanin. In a sense, maybe sort of halfway. If people were a second creation, then they have taken some from the eumelanin group and some from something else and created this new kind of people with the pheomelanin. So there's a difference in chemistry and functions of the pheomelanin. It doesn't capture the light energy and filter out certain harmful rays, ultraviolet rays. It tends to take it in and cause problems, for example, of explosion in the skin that we call cancer. It will turn black in those melanoma tumors, but it cannot be deposited smoothly throughout the body like melanin can in African peoples and other countries.
See, that people should be proud of their color, should never ever feel ashamed, because nature has made us withstand the sun's rays.
So people who want to use skin lighteners and lighten themselves up, what are they doing to themselves?
Well, that's based on this Eurocentric model that whiteness is what one needs to get to and be and become. That's based mainly on what Francis Cress Welsing called white supremacy racism, meaning then that 1/10 of the world's population is without melanin and 9/10 have a pigment. And so the 1/10, and also they're small in numbers, meaning 1/10. So there's an attempt to create a kind of protection to prevent genetic annihilation. That is, if the ones that don't have it mix with those that do have it, then you're going to lose that population of that 1/10. It's going to get less and less and less. So rules and laws are made to genetic annihilation of that people that themselves, white, so Caucasian people. Does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, it does in a way, but I wonder are people, say like Michael Jackson, who did a change in his pigment.
Yes.
Are they harm what they're doing? Because all over Africa, people are using skin creams to lighten themselves.
Okay.
This is.
I get back to the point now. I understand what you're asking. That because of domination of racism, white supremacy by the group of people who made it so, that kind of psychosocial concept is the entire globe that one needs to be without a pigment white. And so that shows that kind of internalization has occurred throughout the world. So that a strong force that's generated by the people that are ruling, that are in charge, that if you're white, you're right, and if you're black, you're down, and so on. So Michael Jackson and his people, to be accepted, and that happened when I was growing up too, at the time. To be accepted, then you have to get as closer to whiteness as you can to get jobs, so that you're socially and psychologically as well accepted. Then you need to go closer and closer towards the lightness, because they are blackness or darkness. So that's just a social, cultural kind of construct that people have internalized, and they're using that as a positive way of accepting people.
What is the damage of
that it can do to the whole body is, as I said, it can destroy functions in the body. And one has to look closer to one who does that to see what damage it does in that person's body.
If they were aware
Michael
of it,
Jackson
they would do that.
may have some kind of, body condition. I don't kept up with what the doctors say he has, lupus or whatever. But it can create various body conditions because it's a functional molecule. It functions in the nervous system, in the endocrine system, in the digestive system, in the kidney system, in the reproductive system, and all of those systems. So it has to do then with what part of the system that was weak enough to become damaged as a result of your bleaching the skin on a consistent basis. See, you have to put the chemical or the toxin there on a consistent basis. That's one of the things of taking medication. You must have the medication at a certain concentration for a certain period of time in order for that thing to show some kind of efficacy. So what I'm saying is that you consistently take something or use something on your skin or your hair or wherever, then with time you destroy the natural original function of that particular area that you are exposing to a chemical. And then some damage can, we don't have to give it a name, but I'm saying some damage can occur as a result of the use of some chemical poison consistently.
The economy is dire right now. The world is on fire, and it's very difficult to find.
That was a really interesting discussion on melanin.
Old colleague of mine commented once.
Definitely worth going. Definitely worth going and attending.
Establish in my own mind. I think that there may have been two creations. I'm not too sure. One original one, and one of using some of the things from the original people to produce another people or to make another people. That may be possible because of the vast differences between the outcome. And we differ based on some mixing in and so on and so forth. But you have a whole group of people, a whole population of people that have features that are similar, and similarities you cannot seem to connect back. You had to. It would suggest that there was some other kind of creation.
Well, that was a really interesting discussion, wasn't it, Melanin? Hopefully, it was really interesting. So, that's all we have is nothing but struggle nowadays.
You gotta make the decision. We can provide you with data and information, images that will help you make a decision, but you've got to make the decision. You've got to go home to your churches, to your communal organizations, to your fraternities, to your social groups, to your community centers, and become a witness to this African struggle. You've got to make a decision. We've made ours. We're here to try to encourage you to make yours. Join us in this victorious faith. In order for you to understand how I operate and operate spiritually, I always have the libation, and since we're about something important, each of us entering a new phase of importance for Black folks because we're 5 years before the 21st century, a new era. We can't march into the 21st century with this Negro-ness that has plagued us all these many years. It was a survival process. It got us this far. Now we know what true Africanness is. We've got to shed the Negro and move into Africanness. I know it's rough, and I know you all don't want to do it, but we're going to have to yank you in there. Jesus was African. When we talk about Jesus, we talk about an African Jesus.
Amen.
When we talk about God, Allah, we talk about an African God, Allah. When we talk about the saints and the people of significance, we need to have sainthood for Malcolm, as they're talking about Imani Temple doing. Sainthood for King, as sainthood for Harriet Tubman. People giving their life in the struggle for your people. So you've got to reform, transform, resurrect. It's got to happen with you. You've got to change your socialization process, and then it can happen with the people around you. So as I said, I don't do anything unless I have the libation. And since I want you to move into a new period of your growth and development, I know I'm moving into mine. I want you to be with me with the libation. Africans, before everything important, they have the libation. Very simple acknowledgement of that which went before you, calling upon the God force of the universe to encourage you and strengthen you as you go forth to do your work. Because we all have to have, as the title of the Albany speech has been designated by our national organization, ASCAP, Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization, as our sacred mission. Because I'm always talking about our sacred mission. Each of us has to develop a sacred mission. Every generation has to make its contribution. Every individual has to make.
My sacred mission is to unite Black people all over the world and lead them to the promised land, to help lead them and to wake them up from their sleep and from their slumber.
His decision or her decision where they're going to contribute to the sacred mission.
That's the sacred mission.
And as we develop this concept of sacred mission, we need to know from whence we came. What is the global context complex and cosmic context that we're dealing with, because we're not alone. The same spirit force that has driven me to do what I'm doing and stand forth. Dr. Khalid and Dr. Tony Martin, Dr. Patsy Wells, and a whole host of others. Dr. Pat Newton is somewhere here. The same spirit force that moves us, my wife, Dr. Rosin Jeffries, is the tapping into this understanding. Tapping into it and making it real. So in the African communal cooperative sense, when the water is poured to the ground, everybody participates. You acknowledge the ancestral realm that's being called upon, the God force that's being called upon, by participating, acknowledging it. Ashe in the Yoruba language, or Yao in the Akan language, or Hotep in the language of the Africans of the Nile, or any other language that you may be familiar with. But let's not sit there like Negroes from Washington without anything to say. In the name of the Africans who began the march of humankind in the womb of Mother Africa, who marched down the Nile with their culture and their ideas, their values and their principles, and raised the pyramids and temples to their God concepts, we ask these Africans and the God Almighty force of this universe, Allah, to be with us, to strengthen us and give us a vision for the future.
No. He's not my God, sorry.
In the name of the Africans who began Queen T, we ask these Africans who inspired our not to become a resurrected Savior, to raise anew the concept of the oneness of God, to build a new city of God, Telamana, and to give his life in the struggle for what he believed as these high principles. We ask these Africans who inspired Akhenaten and his mother, who inspired his father, the great king, Pharaoh, Amenhotep III, who built the great lodge of Luxor, expanded it, the greatest building of the ancient world, the Waset Temple, and so-called Luxor today. The African father of Akhenaten, the African mother of Akhenaten, and Akhenaten himself. That family produced King Tut, and in marrying into it was Nefertiti. This great family of Africans on the throne of the greatest power of the ancient world, 1400 BC, before the Europeans could read or write, before the Europeans had a state or nation that they could govern, Africa has left this enormous legacy of achievement for us. We ask this great African family, the symbol of African resurrection and greatness, to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. Africans who took this culture of greatness, this culture of spirituality, this culture of deep philosophical thought, this culture of values, and spread it throughout Africa, going south into the great stone cities of Zimbabwe. 200 sites of stone cities in Zimbabwe. The great Zimbabwe ruins, probably the seat of a great temple.
I have a Zimbabwean friend. Saw her today. She's from the Shona tribe. Yeah, they have a great history. So cool.
The Karnak Temple Complex and the Waset Temple Complex. Africans who took this knowledge and went along the coast of Africa, built Swahili culture and civilization, blending African traditional knowledge with Islam to produce a great civilizing force in the east coast of Africa. Africans who took this knowledge, African traditions, and the new Christian consciousness, and went into the highlands of Ethiopia. And with King Lalibela, in his Coptic Christian inspiration, building 12 stone churches from the ground down, wonders of the world, the New Jerusalem. Africans who took this knowledge of African traditional values and went into West Africa and helped lay the foundation for the great city-state empires of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, using African traditional belief systems and Islam as the center of focus. And along the coast of Africa, the great cultures and civilizations of the Beni and the Yoruba, of the Akan, of the Dogon, of the Bakongo, those places along the coast of Africa in which our people were pulled out to the hells of North America, South America, and the Caribbean. Africa is maintaining this tradition of greatness, building for eternity around these values of spirituality. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask those Africans who opened up Africa to other people from out of Africa. Early on, coming in were the ancient Hebrews, marching in, walking in, from the area we now call Palestine, and meeting this African culture and civilization, and producing a synthesis that becomes Judaism. Later, the ancient Greeks march and sitting at the feet of Africans, learning mathematics, science, philosophy, and those things we attribute to the Greeks, producing a synthesis once meeting African culture that becomes Greek civilization. And the first Christian nation comes as a result of a synthesis of African cultural traditions, as our brother Kwesi was showing us clearly in his demonstration yesterday. Egypt, Ethiopia, the first Christian nation, not Greece, not Rome, not Germany, not France, not Italy. Egypt, Ethiopia, the first Christian nations. And then later the Prophet Muhammad stretched forth his hands into Ethiopia, and Ethiopia stretched forth her hands. And the Prophet was able to come up with a synthesis that became Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Greek civilization coming out of the African traditions laid down for eternity by our ancestors. We ask these ancestors who open up their heart and their genius to others to be with us to strengthen up and open up their hearts to us as we march into the 21st century. We ask those Africans pulled out of Africa into the hells of North America. Africans yanked out of their villages.
Imagine your child being excited about chemistry. With us, it's possible. Hi, my name is LaJoy Saka, and I'm
Torn out of their villages and away from their families, pulled into the dungeon fort concentration camps along the coast of Africa. 50 to 60 sites still existing along the coast of Africa. Our Holocaust memorials still existing. We don't have to spend millions of dollars to build Holocaust memorials. They are there along the coast of Africa. They're there in Gorée Island. They're there in James Island where Kunta Kinte was pulled out of. They're there in Bunce Island in Sierra Leone. They're there along the coast of Ghana, 40 sites along the coast of Ghana, from Elmina to Cape Coast. Dungeons, prison camps for our people. They're there in Nigeria. They're there in Rwanda, Angola. They're there all around to Fort Jesus in Mombasa, Kenya. African Holocaust memorials that we have to make spiritual centers of healing for our people as they were pulled out of Africa, waiting in the night for those prison ships to come to take them through that middle passage. Africans who gave their life in struggle in the middle passes as they struggled out of their villages, as they struggled in the holes of those slave dungeons. Millions, tens of millions, Africans lost. 100+ million Africans lost. Speak to us and tell us to get ready for the 21st century. We ask these Africans who are telling us not to forget, never and never and never again. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask these Africans who went up into the highlands of Brazil and established the first free republic in the Americas, the Republic of Palmares that Brother Tony talked about, symbolized by the last great king, Zulu, who gave his life with the others, rather to be taken back into enslavement. But for 100 years, these brothers held together a community of tens of thousands of black folks in Brazil. It's not in the history books. We got to put it in the history books. We ask those Africans who went into the highlands of Jamaica and the other islands of the Caribbean and laid down a tradition of struggle and resistance and Africanizing in the Maroon communities. We ask these Africans who left us this enormous traditional struggle to be with us, to strengthen us. We ask those Africans who went into the backwoods of Florida and Georgia and bonded with the Seminole Indians to produce us traditional struggle, the great Seminole Indian Wars, as they fought for freedom in these Americas, maintaining a struggle with the indigenous people. We ask those Africans who came together behind Boukman and Dessalines and Bacchanal and joined in the great struggle in the Haitian Revolution, the greatest land-based slave revolt in the history of the world.
Yes.
We ask these Africans who left us this enormous tradition of struggle and resistance to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. Africans have understood this tradition of struggle and have tapped into it, and they have produced the great slave revolts in America, the Prosser Rebellion, the Vesey Rebellion, the Nat Turner Rebellion. Africans who understood this tradition of resistance and left us with the spirit undoubtable in terms of struggle of a Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. Africans, your great-grandparents and mine, who fled the slave rebellion, fled the slave conditions and revolted or established a runaway railroad called the Underground Railroad, a great tribute to our ability to ingeniously fight against our oppression. Africans down to our present day, your great-grandparents and mine, the Malcolm X, the Marcus Garveys, the Fannie Lou Hamers, the IWLs, the Martin Kings, the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Sekou Touré's, the Patrice Lumumba, Africans who have left us this enormous legacy of resistance and triumph against a system of oppression. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us the courage and the vision to go forth into the 21st century. And we do this for African youth everywhere.
That was a very moving, amazing speech.
With so many choices on Booking.com, there are so many.
I found it amazing. And yeah, so sounds great. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the stream. Good night, everyone.